use the Fara to eliminate your enemies. You've decimated your foes with the Krig. But let's go back to a time where another weapon ruled supreme.
Got him.
The Bruen.
Today I want to introduce y'all to an old friend of mine, the Bruen. Now this is a gun that was definitely meta back before the Cold War integration to Warzone. Here recently most people have been moving to the Cold War weapons, as I have too, just because of a lot of the buffs and nerfs and stuff that they've been receiving. And a lot of times if you're not a sniper, you're looking for that good long range option. So today I want to make a case for the Bruen in being that weapon for you. Now here later in the video, we're going to compare the Bruen stats to two of the top long-range ARs that people are using right now, the Fara and the Krig. Now according to WZRank.com, the Fara is the most used AR in Warzone right now, percentage-wise, with the Krig coming in right behind it at number 2. Both of these weapons are very good to use for long range, but I'm here to tell you to not sleep on the Bruen either. As always, if you guys liked the video, don't forget to like and leave some comments and tell me what you thought about it. And be sure to subscribe so that way you're aware of future videos coming in. Also, check me out on my Facebook group, Roughneck81 Stream HQ, as well as my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Roughneck81. You can also find me on Instagram at Roughneck81. Alright guys, let's go ahead and jump on into it.
So first of all, let's go outside the numbers and talk about why it is I like the Bruen. Really, there's 3 main points to it. First one is the very easy recoil. Now obviously compared to some guns like the Krig or the Grau or the Kilo, it does have slightly more recoil than those guns, but for the most part, it's very easy to control. And that's going to be a really big point when you're trying to hit very long distance shots. So here real quick, I'm going to show you a video going over the recoil patterns for both the Bruen, the Fara, and the Krig. So to give you guys an idea, okay, well that dude tried to ruin my video. Alright, try this again. So, as I was saying, to give you guys an idea of the recoil, we're going to demonstrate it right here on screen. So I'm going to line up right here, probably about, let's say, okay, I'll make this 30 meters here, okay? So I'm just going to hold down the trigger, not trying to stop the recoil at all. This is the Bruen. Okay, so as you can see here, the recoil goes straight vertical, a little bit up to the right, and then curves pretty hard to the left, okay? It can be fairly easy to master. So we're right back up here again. We're about 30 meters away. Now I'm going to try and control the recoil. And I am barely pushing up on my stick. And as you can see, it goes a little bit to the right still. I'm kind of overcompensating for that left movement. But as you can see, it's still pretty dang tight. Now we're going to take a look at the Krig here. Okay, so you can see here the bullets are a little bit tighter on the Krig. It goes almost straight vertical, a little to the right and straight back up again, okay? So now I'm going to try and control the recoil. Okay, so you see here we definitely do have a tighter pattern than we do with the Bruen. The Krig is going to be a little more accurate than the Bruen, but that's to be expected. Now finally here we're going to take a look at the Fara. Again, this is the gun that a lot of people are using right now. We're going to line up about 30 meters away again. And we're just going to hold down the trigger. Okay, as you can see, certainly of all 3 patterns, the Fara is definitely one of the most tight and one of the most easiest to learn. It's pretty much just straight vertical, goes up to the left slightly. We're going to control that recoil now. Definitely one of the smaller patterns as far as trying to control your recoil. So judging by the recoil patterns that we have here and how easily we were able to control them, the Fara and the Krig are pretty similar. I would maybe put the Fara slightly ahead of it. The Bruen is obviously going to have a little bit more recoil than the other 2 guns. However, it is not a very complicated pattern and one that can be learned with a little bit of practice. Again, this is a gun that I'm really comfortable with. I've used it for a long time, so I was able to pick up on that pattern and get it down a little bit better. The second pro for the Bruen is going to be its mobility. While it is an LMG, this gun is not going to be as quick as certain ARs. However, you have to remember, this is going to be your long distance weapon. So movement speed isn't going to be as necessary as if you were fighting up close. If you need to move quickly, you can always just switch to your SMG and run that way. Once you attach that 60 round mag to it, this becomes one of the most mobile LMGs in the game, which for a lot of your longer distance shots, you're not going to be focused on mobility as much as you're going to be focused on things like bullet velocity and recoil and stuff, that having something that's not as clunky as, say, the PKM is going to really benefit you. The third and probably the most important reason I like the Bruen is that I'm simply just comfortable and familiar with it, which obviously videos like this are very opinionated. There's some people that are going to love the XM4 a lot more than I will, or even the Odin, but I always go back to the point that you use the guns that you're the most comfortable with and you feel the most familiar with when it comes to its recoil, bullet velocity, handling, things like that. I simply just want to provide y'all the facts about this gun so that you can try it out for yourself and see if it can eventually become one of your favorites. But to put opinions aside, I want to take a deeper look into the numbers of this gun and how it compares to the top two long-range ARs in the game right now, the Fara and the Krig. So for that, we're going to go back to my tried and true resource site, and that's going to be truegamedata.com. So here's our side-by-side comparison of the Bruen and the Fara on truegamedata.com. I'll have the Krig up here in a minute too. All the numbers shown here with these three weapons are with the attachments on them that you would normally put on them in Warzone if you're going to use them for a long-range option. I've also got it set to show the numbers for 26 meters and out for the Bruen, 27 and out for the Fara, and 38 meters out for the Krig. These are going to be your distances that you're going to have these long-range shots at, so let's look at those numbers. As you can see, looking at the damage numbers for the head, chest, stomach, and extremities, the Bruen is going to win out or tie in every single category between the Fara, the Bruen, and the Krig. The Bruen and the Fara are going to tie on these damage numbers, while the Bruen beats the Krig in every single number. As you can see between the three number sets, the Bruen does have a slower ADS and movement speed than the other two. However, like I mentioned before, this is your long range option. If you need to move somewhere quickly or fight close range, that's when you switch to your SMG. One advantage the Bruen has over the Fara is that it's going to be able to have a larger magazine size. You could go over 60, but that 60 round mag for the Bruen is what you're going to want to use to increase its movement speed. However, that's still larger than the mag you'd be using for the Fara, which would be the 45 round mag. The Krig does also have a 60 round mag. However, because the Bruen is going to do more damage per bullet to all parts of the body compared to the Krig, with its larger magazine size, the Bruen can do more damage with one full magazine than both of the other two guns. The Bruen also by far has the highest bullet velocity between these three at 720, while the Fara has 600 and the Krig has 606. This is going to help you reach those long distant targets better, and you're not going to have to lead them nearly as much. The fire rate on the Bruen is also very good. It's slightly lower than the Fara, but it is much better than the Krig, which puts it in a really good spot. So in summary, I just really like this gun. I like the feel of it, I like how it hits, I feel like it puts a lot of damage into enemy players, as shown by the numbers on True Game Data. That seems to be the case. Hopefully with what you've seen today, you guys can give it a shot and see how you feel about it. Now for those of you that didn't unlock it way back when you had to complete that ridiculous challenge where you have to kill enemies in a smoke grenade, I think is what the case was. My advice, just get into multiplayer, throw a thermal sight on that sucker, throw some smoke grenades and start going to work. It can be a pain in the butt, but if you unlock the gun and get to working with it, you might find out that it was worth it. So lastly, I'm going to end the video with my loadout that I usually run with this gun. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So this is what our loadout's going to be for the Bruen. First off, for a muzzle, we're going to run the monolithic suppressor. This has been a tried and true attachment for all Modern Warfare guns from the beginning, so we're going to keep going with that. Next, your barrel. You're going to have the XRK Summit 26.8 barrel. This is going to be the longest barrel. It's going to give you the most damage range and bullet velocity. It's also going to help with your recoil a little bit. For your underbarrel, you're going to want to run the Commando foregrip. This is going to give you the least penalty to your ADS speed, and it's going to help you learn to control that recoil a little bit better. As mentioned before, you're going to want to run the 60 round mag on this. As you can see in the pros, this is going to greatly increase your movement speed than if you weren't going to run it. This is a must for this gun if you want to be able to move at a decent speed with it at all. Finally, your optic, you're going to want to run the VOK 3x optic. This has been one of the most accurate and consistent optics on all the Modern Warfare guns, so definitely keep with this. As far as the reticle goes, I like to run the T-post reticle right here. It's very clean, and it's very easy to spot targets through it in a long distance. Alright guys, well that's just going to about do it here for us. I hope y'all got some valuable information out of this, and I hope you give the Bruen a shot. Let me know in the comments below. If you gave it a shot, tell me what you think about it. What did you like about it? What you didn't like about it? Remember, I'm not saying this is the best gun out there. It's just another viable option you can try if you're tired of using the same thing over and over again, or you just haven't quite gotten the feel of some of those other guns yet. As always, check me out on my other social channels, like I mentioned before, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook. I'll leave links down in the description below. And come hang out with me on stream. We're usually running a bit of both of Rebirth and Verdansk. And if you jump in the chat and want to play a game, just hit me up, let me know. Appreciate you guys for taking your time out of the day to check out the video. Hope you all have a good rest of the day. Peace.